Vinay from Revv Motoring, and thank you for joining us on this Revv Motoring special. We all know how frustrating it is to wait for a cab here in Singapore. With 6 taxi operators and 28,615 cabs in Singapore, you think there'd be cabs enough for everybody. Okay, I would say about 30% of the time getting a cab is really not an issue. But when you really need one, they're either changing shift, on hire, and the best part is on the hire and there's nobody in the cab, and some of them even refuse to stop. And some of them, and when they do stop, they'll ask you where you're going, and when you say a certain location, they say, oops, sorry, I'm not going that way. And of course, the worst part is during peak hours, where they play the hide and seek game. And as you know, with Singapore, during peak hours, there's always an extra surcharge. So these guys will be out in hiding, waiting for the calls to come in before they magically appear. During the recent MRT breakdown that we had in Singapore, more than 250,000 people were left stranded all throughout MRT stations throughout Singapore. And the worst part is, some of them actually took 1.5 hours to even get a cab. The internet evolving, you've seen new ways in which companies are taking advantage of making you, the customer, get home safely. Companies like Grab Taxi and even Switchback, which is a carpooling app, helping you, the passenger, to get home. And things seem to be looking better. Here in Singapore Parliament, the third-party taxi booking service bill was recently approved, which has paved the way for yet another company to introduce a new way for us to get home and make some money at the same time. With call service bookings roughly looking at about 20% of all taxi rides, it seems the market's about to explode. Okay, and in comes Uber. When I first heard of it, I thought it was a lifestyle magazine or something to eat. But when I found out it's a whole new taxi application and a whole new service being offered, I decided it's about time we find out more. And luckily for us, we have somebody who's going to tell us a bit more about Uber. We have Mr. Kevin Payton here. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here on Revv Motoring and taking time out on your busy day.
You're welcome.
Okay, so once again, I've got a couple of questions for you, and hopefully you can enlighten everybody out there on about Uber and the kind of services and more information basically about what Uber is all about. Okay, let me just quickly grab my question sheet. Okay, first of all, could you tell us a bit more about Uber?
Well, let's say Uber is a taxi app. Should I say a limo app, all right, which provides limo services to whoever who requires a car, all right, and of course the waiting time is pretty short, all right, because what Uber does is it locates the car which is the nearest to the rider itself, all right, and it will dispatch so that your waiting time is shorter.
Okay, and I actually downloaded the app, and I'll show you guys a screenshot about how the app actually works. Okay. Okay. Next question is, so why did you decide to become an Uber driver?
Interesting question. All right. As for me, I'm in the events business. I'm in the events industry. Of course, we have not every day we do have events and stuff. So sometimes you need to run around meetings here and there. So I used to ride a bike. So when I heard about Uber, a friend who introduced it to me said, "Why don't you try out Uber? You got some free time, you can actually earn extra income and stuff." And I said, why not? Give it a try. And since I tried it, it's pretty useful because as and when I'm free, I'll just turn on the app and just drive around. Yeah, and of course, it helps me, benefits me because I have a car now, and when I go for meetings and all, it's so much easier.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question actually. Okay, so why did you just decide to drive the Merc instead of say a normal saloon car?
All right. Now Uber, they have 4 different categories, or actually 5. They have the Uber X, the Uber XL, the Uber Exec, which is executive, and the Uber Executive Large. Not forgetting the Uber Taxi as well. Alright, now the reason why I chose an Uber Exec, mainly because it's more prestige, and the clients that we receive are a little bit more on the higher end.
Everybody wants a bit more comfort.
Yeah, comfort, yes, correct. And of course, I do a little bit more networking for my business as well. So that is the reason why I took Mercedes instead of the Uber X.
Okay, next question we have for you is, on the average, how many hours do you actually on the road basically with Uber?
Well, it's a bit hard for me to actually tell you how many hours that I'm on the road because it's flexible. That's the main reason why I am I'm using Uber because it's very flexible. All right, it allows me to pick and choose the time I wish to drive. If I have a meeting or if I have something on, then I don't drive. It's all right. That's the reason why Uber is pretty awesome.
Okay, and the next question we have is usually what kind of people kind of use Uber or Uber services?
Well, for the Exec, the one that I'm driving, a lot of the expats are using the Uber Exec, and of course we do get locals as well. But because the pricing for Uber Exec is a bit on the higher side compared to the Uber X, so not many people will want to pay that kind of price for a premium ride, right? But of course there are still those people who prefer to travel with comfort.
Right, style as well.
And style, yeah. You know, you arrive, you're going for dinner or D&D and so on, you arrive in style, which is, it makes you look good.
Okay, and next question I think everybody wants to know about, especially if you're going to take a drive with Uber. How much would you say a journey from, say, example, Simei to Raffles Place is going to cost me?
The Exec?
For the Exec, yeah.
For the Exec, okay. Let's say from Simei to Raffles Place would roughly, on average, cost you about $30 to $40 odd. Because Uber calculates by per minute and per kilometer as well.
I think that's pretty reasonable because if you take a normal taxi with all the CBD charges and everything else, it's like, you know, and you get the fact is you get a dedicated car to yourself, and you know.
Let's look at it this way. If you were to take a taxi, a normal taxi during the peak hour where they have their surcharges and all this, all right, from Simei to Raffles Place will cost you about $20, $30 odd, right? But right now, when you take an executive, which is a Mercedes itself, and you have the comfort, you know, your drivers are reliable, your waiting time is shorter, all right? The waiting time is shorter, and you don't have to worry whether is my taxi coming, he's not coming, does he has another job or not? Because with Uber, once you've accepted the job, you're obliged to take it, because they do have an acceptance rate for you to follow up as well.
All right, okay, and another question I think everybody, this one I think is more for those guys who want to be a driver, okay? On an average, how much would you say a person driving on Uber would kind of make? Tough question, I know, but yeah.
Very tough question.
Yeah.
Like I said early on, Uber has different categories. So different categories, they have different pricing as well. So it all depends on how many hours you work in a day or within a week and how much effort you put in it. Because of course, the harder you work, the more you earn.
Okay, and another question. Would you recommend this to anyone to be an Uber driver?
Without any hesitation, I would say yes. Go for it. Because if you do have free time and you love to drive, go for it.
Especially if you've got a car and, you know, like I said, you've got lots of free time, definitely the way to go. Okay, next question. So what benefits do you see Uber has over a normal taxi or even apps like Grab Taxi?
Like I said earlier on, the waiting time. All right, you don't have to wait such a long time for a taxi to come. All right, sometimes when you want to make a booking, it's even difficult to make a booking. All right, so with Uber, it's convenient, it's faster, and of course, comfortable ride with the Exec.
Okay, and the last question I have for you. Which part of Singapore do you say would you basically pick to drive around, or are you basically driving around everywhere?
For the Exec, usually this is the area. We're talking about CBD areas. It depends on all the clienteles. You need to learn, you need to do your homework and study. Of course, I'm not going to share my secret with you guys, but it all depends on your homework. You got to do your homework, you got to know where to wait, where to go. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, once again, Kevin, thank you so much, bro, for taking time out to join us here on Revv Motoring and telling us more about Uber. So once again, those who are interested in finding more about Uber, we're going to do a short little editorial on our website, so head on down to Revv Motoring to find out more. Once again, bro, thank you so much for taking time out, and we'll see you soon, really soon. All right, thanks.